Welcome to the Lifeline Lifeline Health Lecture on exercise. We all know that we have a body that is very capable of doing physical activity, even work. Most of us don't like it too much, but let me tell you that without exercise, it is absolutely impossible to be healthy. Like the saying goes, use it or lose it. And in our modern society, we have lost the understanding of the need for using our body physically. Usually, we try to do things the easiest way, and it is naturally in us, so we have to really fight this laziness that is naturally in us. But if we just look back a few generations, we remember that people used to live out in the fields and they used to do a lot of physical work. And I still hear very often people say, oh, my dad, he was eating meat all his life long and he died 85, 90 years old. Where did he live? Oh, he lived in Latin America on a big farm, and he was producing all his own food and all these things. So we lived a very different, healthy lifestyle a few generations ago, at least in this country. In some other developing countries, people still live in part a healthy lifestyle, and that sure helps. Now, in our society, the problem is we don't live in the country anymore. We live usually in cities or in city areas, and when we have to go to work, we usually go there by bus or by car, and we make sure that we don't have to walk too far. We try to get a parking lot as close as possible to our office, and then if we work hopefully in one of these big buildings, then there is a wonderful elevator that will take us to our office. And as soon as we get into our office, we sink into this comfortable office or desk chair there, and oh, finally we get a little break. Well, we have been sitting all day long already, but we need a break from it. We are in really bad shape right now in our society. When God made us, He gave us a body that was specially made to dress the Garden of Eden. That's what the Scriptures tell us. And it is still good for us to go out there and attend to our little gardens if we can have one. And if we can plant some flowers there, not only vegetables, that is also very beautiful, because all this physical activity should not only give us physical benefit, it should also give us spiritual and psychological benefit. It should make us feel good. And if we do something like on the screen here, dressing and cutting flowers, that really makes us feel good. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. That's what God's plan was for us. We find this in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 15. Well, we have turned things around because we have become quite lazy, because we have invented all kinds of ways to avoid physical activity, and we rather prefer to lay in these mats and these hanging mat there and take a little nap than to sweep the leaves together. But it has a big problem. It brings a big problem with it, because inactivity is a tremendous health hazard. And I would like you to understand in this lecture how serious this health hazard is. It can contribute to producing heart disease, because our heart gets weaker if we don't work out and if we don't do physical activities. It can contribute to diabetes, because we burn less glucose than what we are getting into our body. We may get osteoporosis, because if we don't use our body and our bones, if we don't put weight on them, the body doesn't feel any stimulus to deposit calcium in the bones. Why should he do it? The bones are not used anyway. It can contribute to cancer, because our entire system will debilitate, and even our respiration will get less, and we don't get enough oxygen into our body. And that has a lot to do with cancer, because in 1934 or 5 or something like that, a German doctor, he found out and received even a Nobel Prize for it, that the lack of oxygen in our cells will produce cancer. And if we do not have enough exercise, we won't get enough oxygen into our body. In fact, when I do these live blood cell demonstrations to people, mostly I would say that probably 95 to 98% of all people in this country have deficiencies of oxygen in their blood. So it can produce cancer. It will contribute to anxiety and depression. It's a very important thing that probably has also to do a lot with the lack of oxygen, and it has to do with the accumulation of acids and toxins in our body, because we don't sweat with exercise and physical work, and then we can't get rid of acids and toxins through our skin. Now, inactivity is as detrimental as smoking or having high cholesterol levels. Imagine some of us like to live like healthy lifestyles, and we're proud of the way we're eating. We're vegetarians, and we don't smoke, we don't drink. And when we see a smoker, we just look at him like a weird person. How can you smoke? And we almost reject these people because they smell of smoke, and we're so much better. Well, if you don't do any exercise, you're just no better than a smoker, because you are taking the same health risk as the smoker is doing. Of course, if the smoker doesn't do any exercise, then it will double his risk. Now, when we exercise, we get a lot of benefits out of it. And exercise is really one of the remedies that we should use to heal ourselves or to help other people to heal themselves from different health issues. Now, let's look at the benefits to our circulation. If we do enough exercise, we will lower our blood pressure, because our heart will strengthen, and it doesn't have to pump so hard to get the blood through our arteries. It will also improve our circulation. We'll get a much better circulation. In fact, I just yesterday saw a man who goes every morning for 2 hours to the gym and does a very heavy workout there, and he usually goes on a weekend for 20 to 40 mile bike rides. He was in a very good physical condition, but his blood looked awful. He had all his red blood cells stuck together, and I said, you really should be feeling very tired. He said, no, I don't feel tired at all. And so I immediately knew that it was because he was doing a lot of exercise. Because if I have a blood very much stuck together that can't take oxygen to the brain and to the individual cells in sufficient way or efficient way, then we start to feel very tired. And he did not have the problem. He had a bad blood, but he didn't have the problem because he was exercising. So he was contrasting the effects of the bad blood. Then it will lower our cholesterol because we will burn fat, and that has a lot to do with our lowering of cholesterol. It will lower our resting pulse. If our heart is stronger, then it doesn't have to beat so often to pump the blood through our veins and blood vessels. And so if we do exercise, our pulse rate will go down. A good pulse rate should be somewhere around 50 impulses a minute for a man, and for a woman it should be about 60. But if you take your pulse, you may find out that you're probably at 70 or 80 or even higher than that. And the only way how you can strengthen your heart and get the pulse rate down is really by doing exercise. So if you have any heart issue, you better start doing some exercise, but do it start it in a responsible way. So don't start to run 2 miles the first time you do exercise while you have a heart problem. So you want to go about it a little bit softly, and maybe you even want to counsel with a physician to find out how you can how you can start out with your exercise. But we definitely have to do it because we will not be healthy without any exercise. Here we are doing a little bit of numbers. If you have 80 heartbeats per minute, then your heart will beat in 1 year 42 million times. But now if you get your heartbeat down to a beat of 70 per minute, then you will only have 36.7 million beats per year. And look what the difference is. The difference is 5 million and a quarter of less heartbeats a year. That's a lot of work for your heart. So it really makes sense to come down a little bit with your heart rate. You know, I always like to say, for example, myself, I have a heart rate that is usually the resting heart rate that is usually in the morning down to somewhere around 46, sometimes even goes down to 45. If I would go to the hospital, they would probably get scared and say, your heart is beating too little. But it's great. So let's say your heart beats at 50 rates per minute, and if you are 80 years old, then the heart would have worked just as much as the heart of a person that has 80 beats a minute and that is 50 years old. So imagine having a heart at 80 that beats with 50, it would have worked just as much as the heart of a 50-year-old when it beats 80 times a minute. Let's make numbers. It's important because it has to do with our longevity. And who would not want to live a few extra years? And you know, talking about these living some extra years, I very often young people tell me, oh, I don't really want to get very old. I don't want to get 70. That's too old. I won't enjoy life anymore. Well, let me tell you something very interesting. If you reach old age, you reach it because you have been taking care of your health all your life, and because you are in good health. Now, if you die early, that's when you are sick and when you've been suffering, probably for the last years. So longevity and well-being and enjoying life goes together. And a short life and a miserable life, that goes together too. So don't say you don't want to get old. If you don't get old, you're going to live a miserable, sick life. So let's start working on it, that we will be able to enjoy. I'm 72 years old right now, and I enjoy life to the fullest. I can work a whole day long. I can do lectures. I can do my exercise and go for walks. I can drive a car for 24 hours without no problem. So it's very joyful. I travel all around the world, and I really enjoy my work. So 72 years is not a big age. It's just where you start getting smart enough to know how to do your work in an efficient way. Now, we also have mental benefits to exercise, and they're very important. I said that already at the beginning. We will improve our sense of well-being. It's amazing when you do some exercise, it's amazing how good you feel afterwards. Just with the cameramen that we have here, when they stand behind their cameras, got to be stiff there and watching me to see where I'm going and moving, and so they have to keep me in focus, and after an hour of lecture, they always back pain. So yesterday we did some exercise after the filming, and everybody agreed, yes, you feel really good after you do some exercise. So let's do exercise every day so that we can really feel good every day. And you know, even if you have problems, they disappear if you do good exercise, because it makes you feel so good. It makes you feel so proud that you could accomplish your 2-mile walk or your 2-mile run or whatever you're doing. So let's do exercise. It will increase our energy level. It will increase our efficiency and endurance. It's very important. We can work more time if we do exercise. And we will become more efficient because we are mentally more alert if we do exercise. It lifts depression. How many people are depressed nowadays? And we will learn quite a few things still that will help against depression, because I'm teaching you all these things so that you can get out of your health problems. Look at, for example, as a depression. In nutrition, we spoke about it. We need to become alkaline, because depression has to do with the acidification of our body. Then we need to do exercise to get rid of depression. And when we speak about the sunshine, you will see how sunshine will also help against depression. So let's remember, exercise is for health, and it will help us to overcome different health problems that we may be suffering right now. It reduces the stress. If you are under a lot of stress, go for a walk. And if you're under a lot of stress, don't try to rush from your office to the car and rush in the car home and then park it right next to your entrance door. No, park your car a few blocks away from your office and walk the rest of it. And walk back to your car and then leave your car at home. But get this walk. Enjoy this physical activity. It will help you against stress, and it will also improve your quality of sleep, because sometimes we are so tired mentally, but we are so moved up that we just can't find any way to calm down. So let's do some exercise that we will get physically tired, and we will be much better in sleeping a whole night. Now, the exercise is good for weight control. Yes, it is a popular opinion. I am not so, I would not like to recommend exercise as something against weight or for weight loss. I would not like to recommend it too strongly. We should use it, yes, but the main way for weight loss, or the main remedy for weight loss, should be to detox and alkalize our body, because the body develops only fat if he needs to store acids and toxins inside. And now if we use very heavy exercise to lose the weight without getting rid of the acids and toxins, so where they are going to go now? Well, if you burn the fat, they will go inside your body. And we had 2 Olympic athletes in this country that both died in their exercises. One was a woman and the other one was a man. I don't remember their names, but I remember the story. And I'm always thinking about them when I see these picture here, losing weight through exercise. I believe that these people died because they did not know about acids and toxins, and they just tried to reduce their fat, obligate their body to burn the fat, and probably were on a very restricted diet to keep a good body weight so that they could be competitive. Well, if you want to lose weight, the first measure should be alkalize and detox your body, and then when he cleans out the fat, he won't need it anymore. And then he will start to burn it. If then you want to do some exercise, that's wonderful. Then help the body to burn the fat. And also remember, if you want to burn fat, if you do very heavy anaerobic exercise, then you will not burn fat. Because you can only burn fat with a moderate exercise, because fat is a very slow burning energy. So it does not give us fast energy for anaerobic exercise. And if we do a moderate exercise, then the body is able to burn fat. So if you want to lose weight, go on the corrective diet, as we have studied it already. Keep it religiously, and then do your exercise, and you will be losing a lot of weight, and you will never gain it back again, unless you go back to your old lifestyle, of course. Then exercise will also increase our immune system, because it will strengthen our whole body. And that's very important, because we suffer a lot from immune system deficiencies. And so let's do the exercise to increase our immune system. We will be much more efficient in resisting infectious diseases that can come from the outside, and it will very efficiently defeat diseases that may be coming from the inside. Then it will reduce our insulin requirements. Of course, if we burn the glucose in our cells because we're doing exercise, then it would be much easier for the body to take the glucose out of the blood and put it back into the cells. So we need much less insulin if we do some good exercise. And it will strengthen our bones. So it will counteract against the osteoporosis. So the best thing to fight osteoporosis is not taking these inefficient calcium pills. The best way is to do exercise and put some weight on your bones. For example, a wonderful exercise would be going up stairs. That would be very good. What kind of exercise should we do? Well, we have to think about it first. What is it that we want to accomplish with the exercise? Because we can do exercise just for health, just for some health benefits. We can do exercise for strength. We can do it for endurance. And we can do it for flexibility. And I think when we choose an exercise program, we should take these three things in consideration. We should always try to do exercise that will give us flexibility, strength, and endurance. We won't have time in this lecture. I won't have time to show you some exercises, but hopefully we'll have the chance to show you. I'll have the chance to show you some nice exercises that will accomplish all these three things. Now, a very good exercise is walking. That's one of the easiest exercises, and it has a lot of benefits. Because if you walk, then you should do it hopefully outside. Of course, if it's in the winter, you might want to go into a mall, or if it's in a hot tropical area, you might also want to go into a mall. But if you can, do your walking outside as long as there is some sunlight, because then we will get a double benefit. We will get the sunlight benefit, and we get the benefit from the exercise. Walking is very good, and walking is much better than running. I don't recommend running, because usually the people that run for a long time, for years, they usually end up with some damage in their extremities, maybe their ankles or their knees or their hips. So running is not a very good exercise, because when you run, the shock on your body is pretty hard. So we should rather avoid that. Here is a list of different exercises that we can do, and it gives us the amount of calories that we will burn in a 30-minute moderate exercise. I would not really worry about the calories that I burn, because as I've told you already, the burning of calories or the intake of calories has really very little to do with with our overweight. So it has little to do. Overweight, as I said already, has other kind of reasons. Now, moderate exercise, that's what we should do. And what does it mean to do moderate exercise? We should exercise almost every day. Really, there's a good study out there where they found out that if you do 30 minutes of moderate exercise 5 days a week, then you will get 90% of all the health benefits that you can get from exercise. Of course, it will not increase your endurance very much or your strength, and if you just do walking, it will not increase your flexibility, but it will give you 90% of the health benefits that you can get, and you will never get 100%. So if you do more, well, you only get a few more health benefits. Of course, you can increase your endurance and other things that you would like to accomplish with your exercise. But we should do a moderate exercise every day. Another rule I would like to give you: when you walk, you should walk so fast that your respiration will increase. But you should not breathing so deep and heavy that you could not keep up with the conversation anymore. So increase your respiration, walk heavy enough that you will breathe faster, but not so fast that you cannot keep up a conversation anymore. That would be a moderate walk, and then do that for 30 minutes. You should do it a total of 30 minutes per day. I said that already. And you can even accumulate time during the day. You don't have to do the 30 minutes at once. You can break it down in 2 or even 3 blocks. So you could go 10 minutes in the morning and walk 10 minutes at noon and 10 minutes in the evening. Or what you could do is, I always recommend, leave your car a few blocks away from the office where you are. Leave it on another parking lot. And then walk 15 minutes to your office. And in the evening, you walk 15 minutes back, and you got your 30 minutes of exercise very easily. Now, there was also an interesting study done on what effect does exercise have on you if you start in old age? Because there may be some people here that are 50, 60, 70 years old or even older. I've seen 80-year-old people starting to do exercise. And these tests that they did research is very interesting. They took people between the age of 20 and 82 years. And then they compared their death rate. We have here a group of people that has been active all their life. They have always been active. And then we have another group that has never been active, the couch potatoes, as we call that in English. And then we have the other group that start at a little bit more advanced age. Now, does that have any influence on our longevity? And here are the results. They observed these people, these groups of people, for 10 years. And 10 years later, they had found out that the group that was always fit had 40 deaths. The group that never did any exercise, the couch potatoes, they had 122 deaths. So their death rate increased 3 times. And then we have the group that started at a more advanced age. And look at this. Isn't that interesting? Their death rate was reduced by 50%. So that's a very encouraging data. So no matter how old you are, start doing exercise because it will add years to your life, and not only years, it will add quality to your life. That's the important thing. Because quality of life is not only sitting on the couch and watching TV and eating snacks. Quality of life is being able to enjoy, go out there and do something and travel and do exercise, do fun things, whatever you can think of. So exercise cuts the number of deaths from all causes in half. That's a very interesting study. And so if you can't make up your mind to go and do exercise, at least walk wherever you can. You know, there are some communities in the United States that they call like walking communities, where everything is nearby, the living quarters, and then in walking distance you have the post office and the stores and the restaurants and everything. And in these walking communities, people live much longer, and they are much healthier mentally, and they are much happier in these communities. So let's walk whenever we can, even if it's walking to work or from one office to the other, or if we go to work, then we are in the 2nd or 3rd or even the 10th floor. Let's walk up there. It is healthy for us and it will help us. And we should always be doing some interesting exercise. Don't obligate yourself to do exercise that you find boring and that you don't like. Do things that you like. Do things that are fun. For example, myself, I love to dig the garden. I can stand for 6 hours straight in the garden digging, and I forget everything around me. I forget about the people that needs counseling. I forget about my troubles. I forget about everything. I'm just happy there and digging, and it makes me feel so good. See, and then in the mornings I do a little bit of exercise for flexibility so these garden work, for example, it's excellent. We've been told in these wonderful books from these Ellen White. She tells us that the combination of exercise and productive physical work is wonderful. So the working in the garden is a tremendous thing because it will give us so much peace and so much energy, and the contact with the earth is so healthy. It's just wonderful if we can enjoy these things. And the scriptures tells us, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. Well, we're promised that if we go out there and we do things, we shall not get weary and we shall not get tired, and we won't. We really won't, because I experience it all the time. When I do exercise, I have a tremendous resistance, and I can keep going for hours and hours. If I do exercise, I can drive for many hours. But if I don't do exercise, I get very tired, and I wear out, and I just don't feel good. And I hope also that you will be able to do a good exercise, get used to it, because without it, there is no health. And it has a lot of health benefits. Let's remember that exercise will help us with our immune system, with our high blood pressure, with our cholesterol, with our heart problems, with our obesity, with our broken down immune system, with our depressions, with our mental state of health. It helps us in so many different areas, and we need to know these things because we need to know what is it that I could do if I suffer from this or that disease. So let's use these wonderful natural remedies because there are no negative side effects to them. Wouldn't that be wonderful if we could get on the corrective diet and do our exercise and drink our water and then just lose 20, 30 pounds of weight a month? Or if we could get rid of our diabetes with it, because it's not only helping our body to produce insulin again, it will also help us to reduce the insulin that is needed. So the remedies are there, and I'm presenting them to you. Whether you use them or not, that now is up to you. But I believe that we should really be responsible with our bodies, and that we should do the exercise. And if you say, well, I don't have no idea what to do, well, then just go for a walk every day. And if not, get some of these little exercise DVDs that you can get, or if not, call us and maybe we can send you a little exercise of the exercises that I personally do. We have one available. It's not a very good one because it was only made for personal use. But if you want to see it, we can probably send it to you. All right? I wish you a wonderful time with your exercise and that you may get strong and healthy. Thank you.